Hi everybody. This is just a random collection of thoughts I had. So I was looking at biology or biology, if you're pretentious, workbook today, and I came across the fact that the large part of opposition to Darwin's theory, and this is talking about Darwin's theory in general and not the specifics. Like, I understand that Darwin's theory in specifics, like only the Darwinian parts, have been refuted since it was published by Spencer and Bergson and who not. But the general part of Darwin's theory is largely appreciated and understood to be a breakthrough, for the lack of a better word, a breakthrough in science and a clear concept that was developed. And the main opposition to it is put forth, although not by scientists or biologists themselves, but by religious organizations. And this is not uh, a go forth against religion itself, but a main fact that comes up usually is that Darwin's theory of evolution is mistaken because, and I'm quoting a few textbooks here, because it is improbable that largely an undeveloped time for humanity or the earth, at largely undeveloped times for the earth, organize organisms and molecules and atoms and elements came together in such a way so as to perfectly create a system which constantly evolves, and not only evolves but at that specific point of time also functions in itself in that specific situation. So let's say you're in I don't know, you're just at the point of time where the first bacteria or the first organism started developing in the seas, and at that time, I'm pretty sure the Earth's oxygen saturation wouldn't be at the level it is today, and for those molecules to be compiled together, to connect together, to form an organism together in such a way that it not only evolves to be where I am or where you are or where this laptop is or where uh, like 8 billion people today are, but also survive in the conditions that were given to it at that very specific point of time. And that appears to be to religious organizations, and not only religious organizations but anti-Darwinians or Darwists, so to say, is that is merely that is just impossible that a random collection of molecules would happen. And the fact they put forward is, how could, without any stimulation, like discrete stimulation, because I think they fail to understand the fact that uh, okay, I'll just come forward with it. But without any stimulation, they were able to create organisms or create functions that scientists today, and this is the main refute that I come up with, that scientists today are not able to replicate. The greatest scientists, as they say, are not able to replicate what molecules, what they say non-living molecules were able to do at times where external stimulation wouldn't have been possible. And so their point is that Darwin's theory is wrong or is mistaken or is faulty just because those molecules, I'm sorry if I'm repeating the word molecules too much, but those molecules come up again and again and again and create systems that are just not possible by the innovations of today. And I understand that fact. It is like, it would be pretty hard for me to contemplate the fact that what we have not been able to accomplish in I think a few thousand years is an underestimate. In a few million years of human evolution was accomplished by simple non-living elements in a without any like knowable cause, right? And it's been 5 minutes and I've been just telling you what I am refuting without any factors or facts about why that's wrong. But now I'm coming to what I'm saying is the overestimation of human competence or prowess or technological advancement uh, in the fields of everything. We have, by that logic, we have also been not been able to accomplish recreating gravity, or we've not been able to accomplish recreating nuclear force from scratch. We always have to use plutonium or uranium or radium to create nukes, right? Although small amounts of such matter. But that is true for every field, and so we're basically overestimating human competence, and that is the fact that goes into saying that without any human involvement, molecules were able to compile themselves in such a way. We're also ignoring the fact that out of the 100 billion, that's an underestimation as well, 100 billion planets, let's say, that have existed all throughout the world, and let's say, all throughout the universe, and let's say 10% of them are in the Goldilocks zone, having the solar space to grow or develop as Earth today, only one so far in our knowledge has been able to do that. And that is the fact that they ignore, is that it was not just random molecules knowing what to do so that we are as we are. It was the fact that a billion different situations took place on a billion different on tens of billions of different planets, and somehow coincidentally, or I'm saying coincidentally because I am on Earth, maybe it is a person living on another planet 100 million light years away would also say coincidentally ours is the only planet that has life. But for me, coincidentally, ours was the only situation where the exact arrangement of elements, of molecules, of situations, the oxygen level was just right, the water level was just right. We were just at the right point of time to not be eaten up or be destroyed by a volcanic eruption. A volcanic eruption at that point of time would have just taken out any life that existed that required oxygen, right? So that situation had a lower probability of ever happening, and the one probability that it happened is us. And by the mere fact that that happened, are we there to say that it could not have happened? We are failing to understand that was just 1 out of 1 billion chance that happened, and that did happen, right? So what one thing is that, and the thing which with I started about Darwin's theory was just a specific example to show that this is not only true in debates about Darwin's theory or about evolution or the theory of evolution in general, but also a fact that is seen in I don't know how to put it without messing up with people's opinions, but with religious sentiments that don't align with their political or social beliefs. For example, I was once in a debate which said that aliens must have existed once in a while because of the creation of the pyramids of Giza, of the pyramids around the globe, of the Aztecs, or of Indian monuments. Since I'm in India, I'll tell you Indian monuments such as I fail to remember any prehistoric monuments, but let's say a few temples. You'll find several if you go on the net, but a few temples wouldn't have been possible with the detail they have had aliens not existed, or external not really human factors not been involved, or a way to capture their religious beliefs is if God didn't make people in that time so developed in comparison to the present times such that that development would have been possible. Right, and the thing that messes with me there is for a different reason. It is not the same reason that people then had that time. People had the exact perfect arrangement of time, resources, and all that. They didn't. They have the same resources more or less as we have today. But the thing that they use to say is that if people were, or if scientists, as they choose to take up the profession, if scientists chose today to go and create the pyramids of Giza, let's say, without any technological intervention, that wouldn't have been possible, or that isn't possible. And the problem I have with that is a simpler one, not a very technical one, but a simpler one is that the lack of data. See, people that time didn't have to control large economic problems at that time. At that time, even in the biggest of civilizations such as Egypt, the largest area that you had to look over was like 10% of the Egypt we have today. And Egypt of then didn't have to think about the water resources it had, or the war in Africa that it had, or the expansion of Sahara at that time, or other surrounding territories using terrorism to get to them, or controlling inflation, or controlling poverty, or controlling starvation. Starvation was there, but at levels compared to it is today, I don't think that's comparable. Not at all, because if you look at the population of Egypt as an example, today it was probably like 5%, and that's probably too much. I think the whole world had a population of 5% at the time of the construction of the Pyramid of Giza, like of the current population of Egypt. And so when we take that, a random John during that time would have had too much time and like varied resources, and he would have been, that is his line of work, right? A random John today would not be fully into working to build a pyramid of Giza primarily, because he already knows that it is gonna pay well. Most labor jobs in in countries with large populations, or countries where the medium income is already less, aren't paid well. And secondly, the fact that he had other things to look at. He had and I think this is a largely a problem that people today have, is that he would have said that I don't want to work from 6 a.m. in the morning till 1 in the night to build pyramids. I am employed in a 9 to 5, and from that 9 to 5 he would have taken 7 breaks and would have gone for a 2-week vacation as was legislated by law, or would have just like to sit back and not go to work for a day. And that wasn't possible, except the latter part. Wasn't possible for workers of that time, and all they had to do, the only task that was assigned to them was building pyramids for a ruler they worshipped, a god basically. They worshipped, and if they didn't do it, I would suspect that they would have been killed, or let's just say they would have been removed from whatever post they had, if any, at that time. And so the fact that that is true, and that is a very bad way of putting it, but the fact that people at that time had the time, largely the time, but also the resources and the undivided attention to build what they did is just not comparable to the time, attention, and resources that individuals today have, or honestly they don't care as much. I think, to put in relatively simple terms, they don't care to build the Pyramid of Giza. And also there is also the fallback, and this is largely as seen with Indian mythology more, or Indian religion more than religions of other countries, or religions followed in other countries, although there is, of course, the situational bias I have in India, is that simply wouldn't have been possible to build some things that were possible in myths, right? And I take the word myth in my terms, and I apologize if that is uh, like derogatory to your religion. In case you don't believe it, you're safe to assume that they are indeed facts. But for me, myths such as Ramayana, and I'm taking that as an example, myths such as Ramayana, where they talk about flying, flying Rath in Hindi of Raman, they say that if that was true, and they assume that that is true, there was a flying Rath and a thing with wheels that could propel itself, that could be controlled by normal steering wheels, or not even steering wheels, we had up and down systems, whatever, and could be used in most terrains, uh, is not possible by current technology. The closest thing we have to that is, I believe, helicopters or small airplanes. And the problem again I have with this is that the presupposition that we are believing this myths to be facts, and then we're building our argument upon that there must have been superhuman intervention or religious intervention, or an existence of a more developed species, or humanity itself at that time, and then using that to further say that okay, God was involved, or God exists, or a superhuman organization exists. And that's basically it. I think that has been a 17-minute rant, and I recognize that I've only talked about two things that I know could have been answered in 2 minutes. But I thought I'd just take the time, and since I had nothing to do better, just rant about it. Cool. Thank you.